Hello, welcome. In this quick video, I'm going to answer the question that some of you keep asking me. Matt, should I buy the new Voigtlander Nokton 50mm 1.2 spherical VM mount, which is like M mount version 2? So I'm also going to give a quick mention to the f1.2 Nokton and the 40mm 1.2 Nokton, the new versions. So yeah, all that coming up. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. If you're a new viewer, I review lots of Leica related stuff. Back in around 2020, Voigtlander were pumping out lots of new exciting lenses for Leica M mount. And so back then I was making so many Voigtlander videos, people were calling me Mr. Voigtlander. So yeah, I have reviewed most Voigtlander lenses for Leica M mount, if not all. If I missed any, let me know. Well, actually these three lenses I've not reviewed, and that is the purpose of today's video. So some of you guys think of me as maybe the Voigtlander Oracle or whatever you want to call me. And you're like, Matt, when are you going to review the new Voigtlander Nokton 50 1.2 version 2? And also you've not reviewed the 40 1.2 version 2 and the new 35 1.2 version 4. And I talked to you guys in the comments, I'm like, guys, they're exactly the same as the previous version optically, so there's basically, spoiler, there's no need to buy the 50mm 1.2 spherical version 2. So this is probably going to be an underwhelming video because it's going to be quite short. I'm going to show footage from my 51.2 video from back in 2020. I'll also show some footage from the 41.2 video, also end of 2020, and the 35 1.2 version 2 and version 3. I own the version 2, I've tested the version 3, and now we have the version 4. So in brief, what is the difference between the previous version 1.2 Nokton lenses and the new current production Voigtlander 1.2 lenses? Do I need to buy the new lens and sell my old lens? I'm like, no, you don't need to do that because basically it's the same lens. There are a few tiny instances where you might prefer the new lenses over the old lens. First thing is the new lenses have now got a black nose, basically a black ring on the front, versus the old silver nose lenses that we had in the past. That wasn't really an issue after a while because the company brought out those silicone screw-on front rings. I can link them below if you've got a silver nose lens and you want to make it into a black nose lens. So you can get the silicone covers to screw onto your silver nose lens. That omits the need to then buy a new lens and saves you loads of money. What's the advantage of a black nose lens over a silver nose lens, you might ask? Well, the black nose lenses are probably great for, say, street photographers. If you're using a black camera, black lens, and then suddenly you've got this like big shiny ring on the front, like, hello, I'm taking your photograph. That's probably why street photographers don't like silver lenses or silver nose lenses. I mean, correct me in the comments below if you hate silver nose lenses and let us know why you don't like them. Personally, as a model photographer, portrait photographer, whatever you want to call me, I often shoot through glass, and so I often find that if I'm using a silver nose lens, I photobomb my own photos because I can see the silver ring on the front of the lens reflecting into the glass. Whereas if I'm using a black lens, that's not an issue. So these are, I guess, two real world cases where tick you might prefer the new lens compared to the previous versions. The other key difference with the new lenses versus the old lenses is like the main basic differences is the new lenses are all lighter than the previous versions. So I can bring up some footage to show you the differences, but every new lens is now black nosed and lighter than the previous version. But as mentioned, they're all identical optically. I've chatted to my Voigtlander contacts and they're like, Matt, these are the same optics, so you don't need to get the new lens, you can just take photos with the old lens. Full disclaimer, I'd never actually bought the 51.2 Nokton version 1 because I've got various other 50mm lenses that I use instead. But I do believe it is Voigtlander's best-selling lens for like M mount, the 51.2. It is a stellar performer, there's no question. For me, it was just a tiny bit too big and a bit too heavy for like my overseas photo shoots. I was teaching one of my students in London just a couple of days ago and he had the 51.2 on his M7. And yeah, it was quite a special camera. Let me quickly bring up a clip and show you. It's not your average looking Leica camera.
Yeah, it's specially made in Wetzlar by the team there. It was custom made. But what makes it very special is, you know, I started to shoot film after 25 years, 27 years. And I was thinking like how I'm feeling about the experience now, you know, going back from digital to film. And I came up with this. I said, I feel like a virgin. So that's why I named my M7.
So another question you often ask me is, Matt, should I buy a 35mm or a 50mm lens? Now, this isn't me to answer. This is what you need to decide for yourself. Some people see like a 35mm width, and so therefore obviously buy a 35mm lens. Some people see 50, and so obviously then get a 50. 50 is going to give you obviously more compression. 35 is better for me for, say, indoor portraits in small spaces because I can get more in the scene. But then 50mm gives me less distortion, so generally I'd go for a 50mm over a 35mm if I've got enough space to work in, and say if I'm doing like portrait style photos. And then you've got the 40mm lens. So the 40mm lens is a bit of an oddball because if you know your Leica cameras don't have 40mm frame heights. You've either got your 35 or your 50, and so the 40 is in between. So you need to kind of approximate your composition. Now, certain cameras do work really well with a 40mm lens, and it's things like either a Leica M3, you just use the entire viewfinder and it's like a 40mm view and it's perfect. You can use mirrorless cameras like the Leica CL I've got here, or the Leica SL series cameras, or you can use a EVF on your Leica M series camera. So what is the verdict? It's pretty much the summary of what I've just said over the last few minutes. You don't need to buy the version 2 lenses that are optically identical to the previous versions. You can get some absolute bargains if you look on the likes of MPB, if you pick up the older version, although MPB had sold out, so maybe not a great example. But you can also look on the likes of eBay. Again, I didn't find any listed in the UK, so people are obviously cutting on to the fact that the previous version 51.2 is fantastic value when you can find them at roughly half the price of the new lens. So hopefully that helps. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. There is a full list of all Voigtlander lens reviews on mrleica.com. I can also link the full videos of the 51.2, 41.2 and 35 1.2 here next. Thanks for watching, and thanks as always to our amazing patrons.